Listen to me. You have been told all your life to believe in yourself, as if that is some shallow slogan you wear on a shirt or post on a wall. But I am not talking about empty confidence. I am talking about conviction, the kind that comes from knowing that you were not placed here by accident. You were crafted with purpose, with design, with reason. And if that is true, then you must believe that what is within you was meant to be used to grow, to stand against the odds, even when every voice around you tells you that you cannot. You see, believing in yourself does not mean pretending you are perfect. It means you are willing to face your weakness, acknowledge your fear, and still move forward. It means you look in the mirror and recognize that the person staring back at you has been given something valuable potential, strength, perseverance, and you refuse to waste it. You will fail, you will fall. And that is not a sign that you are not enough. It is a reminder that growth is forged in struggle. Do not expect the path to be easy. Do not think belief comes without battle. Every dream worth holding on to will demand sacrifice. Every victory will ask for endurance. And the moment you are tempted to quit, that is the very moment you must choose to believe again. Do not measure your worth by the world's applause. The crowd will cheer one day and turn away the next. You must stand even when no one claps for you, even when no one sees the effort, because belief that depends on approval will die the moment rejection comes. But belief that is rooted in truth that you were made with purpose will carry you through every storm. So rise up, speak to that voice that says you are not enough and silence it with faith. Remind yourself that you were built for more than fear, more than doubt, more than the limits others place upon you. Believe not because it is easy, but because it is necessary, because the world needs what you carry, and it cannot shine if you choose to stay in the shadows. True belief in yourself isn't shallow confidence, it's the deep conviction that you were created with purpose, and that your strength is proven through struggle and perseverance. You see, the world has taken the idea of believe in yourself and turned it into something light, something marketable, something you can write on a coffee mug and forget by noon. But belief is not a slogan, it is a fire. It is not a feeling that comes and goes with your mood. It is a choice, a discipline, a decision to trust that your life carries weight and meaning. True belief is not about thinking you can do anything you want just because you want it. It's about understanding that you were not placed here by accident, that you were designed with intention, and therefore every difficulty, every challenge, every tear is shaping you for a greater purpose. There are moments in life when everything around you screams that you're not enough. You will stand before circumstances that seem too heavy to carry, before mountains that mock your strength. And in those moments, the shallow, self-help version of belief will fail you. The kind that says, just think positive, will crumble under the weight of real pain, because life is not polite. It doesn't ask for permission before it tests you. It doesn't wait until you feel ready. It throws storms your way, breaks your plans, and shakes your foundation. And that is where real belief begins, not when things are easy, but when everything is being stripped away, when you have no applause, no comfort, and you still decide, I will not give up. You were created for endurance. Strength is not something that appears out of nowhere. It's forged. It is built in the fire, in the quiet hours when no one sees you, in the tears you wipe away before facing another day. People often want strength without the struggle, but that's not how life works. You cannot become unshakable until you've been shaken. You cannot develop perseverance until you've faced resistance. Every hardship, every disappointment, every heartbreak is not a signal to quit, it's a summons to grow. True belief means you stop running from your struggle and start learning from it. It means that instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what is this teaching me? It's realizing that even pain can be purposeful. Every time you fail and rise again, something inside you changes. You become a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more aware of what you're capable of. That is the soil where conviction grows. There will be times when people misunderstand you. They will question your dream, your drive, your motives. Some will tell you that you are unrealistic, that you should lower your expectations, that it's safer to live small. And in those moments, your belief in yourself will be tested again. You will be tempted to shrink just to fit their comfort. But listen, if you were given a vision, if there is something inside you that refuses to die, then it's not arrogance to believe in it. It's obedience to the purpose that created you. You cannot let the doubts of others silence the call within you. Belief is not arrogance. It's humility to say, I don't have all the answers. I don't always feel strong, but I trust that I was given what I need to endure this moment. The world confuses belief with pride, but they are not the same. Pride says, I don't need anyone. True belief says, even when I am weak, there is something within me that can rise again. Belief does not deny fear, it faces it. It does not ignore pain, it learns from it. It does not pretend everything is fine, it walks through the storm knowing that the rain will not last forever. When you look back at your life, you'll realize that the moments that defined you were not the easy ones. It was when you were tired but still moved forward, when you were rejected but still kept your integrity, when you were afraid but still took the step. These are the moments that prove belief is not a feeling, it's a decision. Every single act of perseverance writes a line in the story of your strength. You don't have to feel powerful to act powerfully. Sometimes belief looks like trembling hands doing what fear says you can't. Sometimes it's just taking one more step when your legs are screaming to stop. You will never truly know what's inside you until life presses you hard enough to reveal it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is tempered by fire. And you are no different. You may not see it now, but the pressure you're under is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to show you what you're capable of. So many people quit just before the moment their strength is about to be proven. They walk away because they mistake difficulty for defeat. But those who endure, those who stay, when everything says leave, they find out that they are far stronger than they ever imagined. True belief in yourself means you recognize your humanity. You will stumble, you will doubt, you will have days when you question everything. But even in those moments, belief whispers, don't stop here. It reminds you that the story isn't finished. You may not control every chapter, but you decide whether to close the book. You decide whether to keep going. That choice, that persistence, is what separates those who dream from those who do. And understand this. Purpose isn't found in a single grand moment. It's revealed through small acts of courage repeated over time. Every morning you rise despite the heaviness. Every time you choose integrity over convenience. Every time you forgive instead of holding bitterness. These are not small things. They are the quiet demonstrations of strength that build character. And character is the foundation of true belief. When you believe you were created with purpose, you stop living like a mistake. You stop apologizing for your passion, your drive, your desire to grow. You begin to see that your uniqueness is not a flaw to be hidden, but a gift to be used. You start to live with intention, not just reaction. You stop letting circumstances define your identity, and you start letting your conviction define your response. That is freedom, the freedom to live with purpose even in the face of chaos. And do not confuse belief with ease. Believing in yourself will not make life simple. It will often make it harder, because belief demands that you take responsibility. It asks you to act when it would be easier to wait, to hope when it would be simpler to quit. It calls you to rise when it would be more comfortable to remain on the ground. But the beauty of belief is that every act of courage strengthens it. Every time you refuse to back down, you teach yourself that you can endure. And endurance builds confidence, not the empty kind that fades when things go wrong, but the kind that lasts, that carries you through darkness. You were created for purpose, and purpose requires perseverance. Life will test that purpose. You will be challenged not just by failure, but by success, by the temptation to settle, to become complacent. But belief keeps you hungry for growth. It reminds you that you are not made to simply exist, but to live fully, to impact, to build, to rise. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to give up. That's belief in action. When you keep going even when no one notices, when you do what is right even when it costs you, when you face fear with faith, that is what shapes you. Belief is not proven by words, it's proven by endurance. You may feel unseen, unappreciated, unnoticed, but that doesn't mean your effort is wasted. Every small act of perseverance is a seed, and though it may take time, every seed that is planted in faith will bear fruit. The world may not see the roots growing underground, but they are growing. Strength grows in silence before it shines in the open. So when you are in the middle of the struggle, when you feel like everything is falling apart, remember this: your purpose has not vanished. You are still becoming. The pain is part of the process. The doubt is part of the shaping. And the perseverance is proof that belief still lives in you. Do not mistake the darkness for the end. It's just the soil where your next chapter is being formed. True belief in yourself is not loud. It doesn't need to shout. It stands quietly, firmly, unshaken, even when everything else trembles. It's the conviction that you were made for more, not for comfort, not for applause, but for purpose. And every time you choose to rise, you honor that purpose. Every time you endure, you prove that strength is not given, it's grown. Every time you believe, you step closer to becoming who you were meant to be. Your worth and belief must not depend on others' approval. Real belief stands firm in truth and purpose, even when no one else sees or supports you. That is a truth that will either liberate you or offend you, because deep down every one of us craves to be seen, to be validated, to be affirmed. There is something inside us that longs for someone to look at our efforts, our dreams, our pain, and say, "I see you." But the danger is that we begin to live for that voice instead of the voice of conviction inside of us. We start chasing applause instead of authenticity, recognition instead of purpose, and in doing so, we trade something eternal for something temporary. We trade truth for approval. The problem with living for approval is that it's never stable. People are unpredictable. Today they'll celebrate you. Tomorrow they'll criticize you. One moment they'll praise your courage, and the next they'll mock your conviction. If your sense of worth depends on what others think, then you will always be at the mercy of their opinions. You'll rise and fall with every word spoken about you. That's not living, that's surviving. That's existing in a prison built by perception. You were not made for that. You were made to stand even when the crowd turns away. There comes a point in every person's journey where you must make a choice. Will you live for the comfort of approval, or will you stand in the discomfort of truth? Because truth rarely wins popularity contests. Purpose rarely gets applause in its early stages. When you decide to walk the path you are called to walk, many won't understand it. They'll question your motives. They'll doubt your strength. They'll label your conviction as arrogance, your persistence as stubbornness. But if your belief is rooted in truth, not opinion, you will keep standing. You will learn that real faith in yourself does not need validation. It creates validation through endurance. There is something sacred about walking alone. Not because solitude feels good, but because it tests what you truly believe. When the applause fades and the lights go out, when no one is watching, when no one is affirming you, that is when the foundation of your belief is exposed. If it's built on approval, it crumbles, but if it's built on truth, it holds. That's the difference between surface confidence and unshakable conviction. The first is loud but fragile. The second is quiet but unbreakable. You must understand that standing alone is not a punishment. It's a proving ground. It's the place where your convictions are purified. When everyone else doubts you and you still choose to believe, something happens within you. You stop needing permission to be who you were meant to be. You stop asking for validation and start walking in purpose. The people who change the world are rarely those who were understood at first. They are often misunderstood, rejected, even ridiculed, but they keep walking because their belief is anchored in something deeper than opinion. Every great story of perseverance begins with isolation. Every voice that ever spoke truth was first ignored before it was celebrated. The crowd always follows comfort. Conviction always walks against it. That is why you must decide early who you will listen to. Will you let your identity be defined by those who cannot see your purpose, or will you let your purpose define who you are even when no one sees it yet? Because there is nothing more tragic than a person who abandons their calling just because others didn't understand it. Your worth was never meant to be decided by consensus. You were not designed to fit every expectation. You were created with a unique path, a specific purpose, and that means there will be seasons when you feel unseen and unappreciated. But those are not wasted seasons, they are necessary. They are shaping you, teaching you to stand, to endure, to find joy without applause. The absence of approval is not the absence of value. In fact, it is often in those moments that your value is refined. You see, approval is easy to chase because it feels good. It gives a temporary high, a sense of acceptance, of belonging. But the danger is that it can also distract you from your direction. You can become so focused on being liked that you forget to be real. You can become so eager to fit in that you lose the very edge that made you different. And once you trade authenticity for acceptance, you start living a life that looks good but feels empty. Belief rooted in approval always leads to exhaustion because it demands constant performance. You have to keep pleasing, keep pretending, keep proving. But belief rooted in truth brings rest because it is not earned, it is known. There will be times when walking in truth costs you relationships, opportunities, even reputation. But that cost is worth it because what you gain is integrity. Integrity cannot be given by others, and it cannot be taken away by them. It's built in the quiet choices, the moments when you choose what's right over what's popular, what's real over what's easy. And that integrity becomes the backbone of your belief. It gives you the strength to stand when the world wants you to kneel, to speak when others stay silent, to keep moving when the path feels lonely. Understand this, the crowd will always have an opinion, and most of the time they will speak from their own fears, not your truth. People will project their limitations onto you and call it advice. They'll tell you what's impossible because they could not do it. But their inability is not your destiny. Their doubt does not define your capacity. If you live according to their expectations, you'll inherit their limitations. But if you live according to your purpose, you'll discover freedom, the kind that cannot be given by applause or taken away by criticism. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop performing for approval and start pursuing excellence for its own sake. You work not because you need to prove your worth, but because your worth gives meaning to your work. You no longer need the world to recognize you before you act. You act because the calling within you is too strong to ignore. That's what separates dreamers from doers. The dreamer waits for permission. The doer walks in conviction. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. There will be days when no one claps for you, when your efforts go unnoticed, when your work seems invisible. You will question if it's even worth it, but that's when you must remember the seed that grows in silence is still growing. The roots are forming before the fruit appears. The quiet seasons are not wasted, they are preparation. If you can be faithful when unseen, you will be unstoppable when seen, because by then your belief won't depend on validation, it will be grounded in purpose. People's approval can open doors, but it cannot sustain you once you walk through them. Only conviction can do that. Approval fades, conviction endures. If your confidence is tied to applause, you'll constantly chase noise to silence your doubt. But if it's tied to purpose, even silence will strengthen you. The voices of others may rise and fall, but truth remains steady. And if you stand on that truth long enough, the same people who doubted you may one day ask how you did it. But by then, you won't need their recognition because you'll know who you are. There's a kind of peace that comes when you no longer need everyone to understand you. When you realize that their misunderstanding doesn't make you wrong, and their silence doesn't make you weak. When you stop explaining your purpose to those who were never meant to carry it. That's when you truly begin to live freely. You begin to move not from pressure, but from power. You begin to find joy not in being seen, but in being true. And let me tell you something, there will always be people who cannot see your worth until others validate it. There will always be voices that doubt you until success forces them to notice. But your belief cannot wait for that moment. You must believe before they do. You must walk when no one follows. You must hold your vision when all you have are shadows. Because real belief is proven in the silence, not in the spotlight. The world measures success by recognition. Truth measures it by perseverance. You will find that the ones who build lasting legacies are those who stopped living for applause. They did not wait for acceptance. They acted from conviction. They knew that approval is fickle, but purpose is eternal. They understood that the road of truth is narrow, often lonely, but always worth walking. And because they stood firm, even in isolation, their lives carried weight not because they were celebrated, but because they were steadfast. The temptation to seek approval will never fully disappear. It will whisper in your ear every time you are misunderstood, every time your worth goes unrecognized. But you must answer that whisper with truth. You are not defined by how people see you. You are defined by how faithfully you walk in what you were created for. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. You are not here to please the crowd. You are here to live with conviction. Every time you choose to stay true instead of being liked, you are building strength. Every time you keep walking without recognition, you are proving belief. Every time you silence the need for applause, your purpose grows clearer. The crowd will always come and go, but purpose remains. And if you build your life on that, you will never be shaken. Real belief stands firm in truth and purpose, even when no one else sees or supports you. Because belief that depends on approval dies with silence, but belief that depends on truth endures forever. It stands when the lights go out. It moves when the crowd leaves. It grows in the dark. It stands in the storm. It does not need permission to exist, because it was never born from applause, it was born from purpose.